Lynching and the death penalty. Is there really any difference? Today we will look back at these historically common punishments, such as lynching and hanging, as inhumane and cruel. So why do we not view the death penalty, a punishment similarly that deliberately takes a human life, in the same way? 30 states, predominantly in the South, in America, still legally allow for the death penalty today. In fact, Texas is within the top 3 states for holding death row prisoners, coming in behind California and Florida, according to criminalfindlaw.com. Also according to criminalfindlaw.com, 1,491 convicts have been executed through the death penalty since 1976 in the United States. The death penalty is a cruel and unethical punishment because it is loaded with risk, discrimination, and deliberately takes the life of another. Today, I'm going to be giving you 3 reasons why I find the death penalty to be unethical and unjust. Let's begin with my first point. The death penalty is not worth the risk of killing an innocent person. With every execution, there's always a risk that a convicted murderer is actually innocent. Innocent people are too often sentenced to death. Since 1973, over 156 people have been released from death row due to their innocence, according to ACLU.org. Also according to ACLU.org, 1 person is exonerated for every 10 that are executed. Killing 1 innocent person is not worth killing multiple guilty people. There have been many cases where innocent people were sentenced to death row, and one of these were 2 native North Carolina brothers named Henry McCollum and Leon Brown. According to AmnestyUSA.org, these 2 brothers were intellectually disabled and unknowingly confessed to murder by signing a contract that they had no idea what they were signing for. After a detailed investigation, DNA proved not to match theirs, and they were set free in 2014. Another example of this was Daniel Wade Moore, a native of Alabama. According to AmnestyUSA.org, Daniel Wade Moore was found guilty for murder and sexual assault of a woman named Karen Tipton. The judge sentenced him to death, overruling the jury's original agreement. However, in 2009, he was set free after 256 pages of evidence were found. Additionally, an innocent life was put to risk right here in Texas, according to AmnestyUSA.org. Anthony Grace was convicted of assisting multiple murders. There was no physical evidence relating him to the crimes. Finally, a prosecutor re-examined the case and found him to be an innocent man, and he was set free in 2010. Next, let's look at my second point. The death penalty does not reflect the society that we live in today. A society that respects human life does not deliberately kill others. ASLU.org argues that this is not a good example for citizens, nor is it a good example for our children. If we live in a society where all lives are valued, then the death penalty does not reflect that. It is unusual that a Western industrialized society would use such a barbaric punishment. We no longer live in a time where slavery is present or extreme punishments such as hanging and lynching are still present. So why would we continue to use the death penalty? Finally, let's examine my last point. The death penalty discriminates. The death penalty discriminates against minorities. Those convicted of killing whites are more than 3 times as likely to be sentenced to death than those who killed black people, according to deathpenaltyinfo.org. They are also 4 times more likely as those convicted of killing Hispanics. According to ACLU.org, 4,220 prisoners were executed in the United States over the past couple of decades, and more than half of these were black. and many of these were murdered for crimes that are much less serious than murder, such as burglary. In conclusion, the death penalty is not ethical due to its risk of innocent lives, consistent discrimination, and inability to reflect the views of our industrialized Western society. We must stop the government from using their power to destroy human lives. We must stop using this barbaric and uncivilized punishment in a society that is both civilized and reflects the value of human life. Show the audience.